What's up everyone, Jacob Wheeler here, gonna dive into how to select the correct spinnerbait blade for the situation you're gonna deal with. So hopefully you learn a little something from this one. All right, now there's a lot of variations of spinnerbait blade combinations, colors, all that stuff. But we're gonna dive into the blades, really focus on the blade side of things on this one. And typically your number one blade combination that I feel like is probably a 1/2 ounce with double willow. Okay, so that's a willow blade right there. I think this is like a 4.5, and there's different sizes. Okay, you can go into crazy depth, but I think it's like a 4 and a 4.5. I'm pretty sure. Typical day in and day out, a 1/2 ounce with this combination is going to be my traditional blade selection of choice. Now in dirtier water, that's going to change up a little bit, but water's clarities, your typical 2 to 4 foot of visibility, 1.5 to 3 foot of visibility, which is typical for around the country. That's when I'm gonna pick the double willow up, okay? He has good flash, and every time that rotation, he has flash because of the shape and because of, and then of course, has good vibration, not too much. I think some people think that they need a big thumping spinnerbait when it's super dirty, and that is sometimes the case, but in this scenario, my number one choice of blade combination. Now, as far as color, white chartreuse is great for the dirtier water, your more natural colors if it's cleaner, and then of course, your more natural colors right here. Whites are great as well if you're sort of in between. So that's sort of like how I keep it very simple on that side of things. One thing I will do is if it's super clear water, I will switch my double willow to double nickel blades. So these are silver blades rather than a gold and a silver. So that's sort of giving you an understanding of like, I want it to be more natural. And so the silver is be a little bit more natural than a gold blade. But I also do the opposite, the dirtier water. If I'm in Florida, I might go double gold blades if the water's a little bit dirtier and I want to add that same flash and everything with those gold blades and the double willow. So that's the scenario on that side of things. When the water's a little bit dirtier, a single blade Colorado is a very slow, it's not a lot of flash, it's more about vibration. Thump, 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 thump. You don't have a lot of flash surface right there. I think it's a 4.5 right here. And so that's sort of when I use when I'm trying to super dirty water. I want to slow the bait down. It's not going to be very fast. It's going to keep the bait in the strike zone a little bit longer. And that's, typically in this scenario, when I'm throwing this bait, I'm either throwing a white chartreuse or a chartreuse spinnerbait because the water is fairly dirty. Foot of visibility or less typically when I'm selecting this selection. And that keeps the bait, slowing it down around cover. Colder water temperatures is when I'm going to throw that single Colorado in that dirty water situation. Now, if I want to have something that's sort of in between dirty water, but then also this is an Indiana blade right here with a red or orange. I call it orange. Some people say that's a red kicker blade, but it's an orange kicker blade. And so some people say that's a red kicker blade, but that's actually an orange kicker blade. I've always said a kicker blade is just basically your vibration is going to come from your main blade most of the time, but this is added vibration and it is added flash. So I'm getting a little bit more flash out of this combination because I have 2 blades, of course. So I'm getting the gold flash, which is more to imitate a shad or some sort of bait fish. And then that red or the orange kicker blade to actually add a little bit more sight to visually see that. And then I think sometimes in the springtime, I mean, obviously it's not imitating crayfish, but they do like brighter colors, and sometimes that little blade does sort of add a little bit more color, which I think generates a few more bites. This is going to be a little bit faster spinnerbait than the single Colorado, but it's going to be a little slower than the double willow. So that sort of gives you a sort of scenario in that situation. And because of that Colorado blade right there, he is going to slow it down as well. It's not a lot of your vibration there. He's going to slow it down a little bit right there. So going down into like a deeper, bigger spinnerbait, this is like a big number 5 spinnerbait with like a 1 ounce. This is like more your offshore. This secondary blade right here, your kicker blade right there, it's a bigger Colorado. So you are going to get a little thump and slowing it down. This is more of a typical spinnerbait combo that I use when it's a little bit, deeper water. I want more thump, stained water. I'm trying to get it, and it is a bigger head. So but day in and day out, half is what, and I normally use this combination almost exclusively for 8 foot of water and deeper, fishing over bigger places, dirtier water to typical, and I can sort of just change it up. Now, we're not gonna dive into trailers, but I do sometimes put a trailer on my spinnerbait. I like this trailer on my spinnerbait for the most part. I feel like it does add, it adds buoyancy, one, and then it just adds, when they come up there and behind it, they get to grab it. I feel like they have something to hold on to. So that's the reasoning behind that. The other thing that we are going to talk about real quick here, last but not least, is fluted blades. And this is something that's, I didn't realize, and it's over the last few years I've learned a little bit about it. So these blades, they're actually like fluted, and they actually have like these little impressions in them, and like it actually has more flash. And so the advantage of this is, number one, again, more flash because it's broken up. It makes it look like there's like more shad, or more like, you know, more shad in the school. But it also, what it does is, in super clear water situations, it's less resistance and it's less vibration. So the blade will actually rotate, but because of the fluted part of this, it basically doesn't vibrate as hard as like a standard flat blade, like this guy right here. So that in that scenario, you're not getting that as much vibration, but you're getting more flash. So in cleaner water, this is a great option, or if you're trying to be a little more subtle. So that's sort of the breakdown of the blade combinations. That's the one that, I mean, I keep it fairly simple. You know, as far as weight size, 3/8 if you're trying to go super shallow, half is a good traditional size. If you're going deeper, if you're in current, I like a 3/4, and if I'm like, you know, some decent current, like 3 to 5 foot visible, you know, 3 to 5 foot zone, depth zone that I'm targeting, and then if I'm fishing out deep, I'll go with the 1 ounce. So overview on spinnerbait fishing, that's sort of my mindset. I try to keep it very simple, but it can be confusing, but simplify it. Make it simple. Spinnerbait touched a lot of fish, and overall, like this right here, I think they're making a huge comeback, and you can do a lot of different things with different colors and all that, but day in and day out, the selections that I have right here catch a lot of fish. And so hopefully you guys learned a little bit about spinnerbait bass fishing. In this segment, if you could do me a favor, drop a comment below. Let me know your favorite spinnerbait out there on the market, because I'm always looking for another one to add to my selection. Thanks a lot, guys.